Hello and welcome back to Harry Shoots People. Last week I was perusing eBay looking for some expired film to shoot when I came across this bag of expired Kodacolour 2. Kodacolour 2 is the first C41 emulsion that Kodak ever put out back in the 1970s, and this particular batch expired in 1979, making it nearly 50 years old. I decided I wanted to challenge myself and shoot a little bit more expired film, but once it's arrived I realised that it is not in fact 120 film but 620, which is a slightly different competitor to 120 where the spool itself is just a little bit thinner. This makes things a little bit more difficult as I don't possess a 620 camera. However, it is possible after some routine googling to load it onto another 620 roll and then back onto a 120 roll to make it possible to shoot in my RB67. So we're going to go do that now and hope for the best. So the plan right now is to head down to J&A, hope that they have a spare 620 spool and a spare 120 spool, go into a dark bag, reel one roll back and forwards again, and hopefully it'll come out perfectly fine to shoot. Fingers crossed. Okay, so great news, J&A just lent us those extra spools, one 621 and maybe four 120s, so we can spool them when we get home and create like a portable dark bag. Hello and welcome to my incredibly professional darkroom setup. So here we're just going to test out the first roll of the Kodacolour. We've got an XS 620 spool from J&A and 120 spool. So all we're going to do is roll it across to the 620 and that'll invert it and then roll it back onto the 120. So we'll be back to this way around and ready to shoot. I have just a minute ago watched a YouTube video on how to do this, so I'm feeling pretty confident. Never done this before in my life. All I'm hoping is I emerge from the other side of this door victorious with a roll of lovely spooled 120 in my hand. So let's go. Well, I've done something wrong. Okay, I know this is a faux pas and all that, but I've ended up with this. Not quite sure what went wrong here. Trying to fix it, the wheel won't rewind any further. JD's and Lenormand. Here we have a complete roll of 620 50-year-old film loaded onto a 120 spool. Yes, that was super difficult. Yes, the camera's been recorded for 21 minutes, but we did it. There's definitely something went wrong in the process. I definitely lost like a handful of frames, something with the paper catching. I'm not quite sure what was going on. I had to rip it off the backing paper. So all we're going to do now is shoot this. I think we're just going to stop it down from 100 all the way to the lowest ISO we can get, just to see if this process works so I can shoot the rest of it, or if a professional should actually be doing this respooling. But hey, here it is. Let's go. Also, just a side note, 50-year-old 620 film reeks. It smells like the Maritime Museum. Shout out to anyone that's ever been to the Maritime Museum. Drop it down in the comments. All jokes aside though, hopefully this works. Fingers crossed. Like I say, we're going to know pretty quickly if something's gone wrong. Victory in the slightest. Now let's shoot this. going to start at box speed ISO, which is 100, and we're just going to incrementally work our way down. Okay, so with that all shot now, fingers crossed that's all rewind properly. I'm going to open it and have a look now. Oh, perfect. That is great news. At least I can actually shoot roll film properly nowadays. Anyway, I think this must have been the issue before because I've re-rolled it. The sticky bit of tape is now tucked underneath itself. So I think that is also part of the reason. So I do need to grab another bit of tape to seal this before I take it down. So the next step is just take this down to J&A. We're going to wait a couple of days for it to be developed. And then hopefully by then we'll sort of know what we're working with, whether I can actually re-roll it properly, and what sort of speeds are best to shoot this on. And then we can shoot it properly. So basically the results of our test roll show us that we should shoot the film at 6 ISO, which is pretty good because it does align with the general rule of expired film where it's 1 stop for every 10 years, 50 years, 5 stops, 100 ISO down to 6. I did shoot the remaining 5 pictures on that roll, and that basically gave us the same result. Here's the 6 ISO shot. It's the best we're going to get, basically. Not my most ideal ISO to shoot at, not anyone's I don't think, so I waited patiently for about 3 months for a very sunny day. Okay, so currently we are on our way down to my friend Carl's studio to go and shoot the rest of the film because my friend Harry had a pretty cool idea of, you know, those sort of vintage criminal mugshots from back in the day, of shooting stuff like that, obviously on like the 50-year-old film. And seems like a great idea, so we're on our way now to go and shoot that, so let's go. So like I said, we were shooting these sort of vintage criminal style mugshot pictures which look pretty cool, so we're going to try and replicate that. And my friend Cal sells vintage menswear, so he'll be providing and styling the looks of today. So safe to say we're all pretty excited for this shoot. Right, so we're here now at Cal's studio. Harry and Cal are now getting changed and we're going to start taking some pictures. Loaded up our first roll of the Kodacolour. Fingers crossed it's loaded properly. Yeah, let's go. Unfortunately on the day there just wasn't enough light to shoot in the studio for the first bit. So we headed outside just because there was a lot more light and a lot more room as well. So a little change of plans, we're now outside just because the light's better, but we're shooting on 4.5 at 1/30th just because we have to rate the film at 6 ISO. So yeah. And this is how the first shot came out, which was a really nice surprise. It came out pretty well. For me personally, and also to fit the brief better, I've decided that I would edit them after the fact and put them all into black and white. It fits the brief better, suits what we were going for, and also in my opinion makes the photos look 10 times better. So I'll display it with the image as it came out of the camera, and then afterwards with the edited version. Since a lot of our inspiration images also show a sort of full body portrait and then a close-up, that's the kind of look that we were mimicking. So I brought 2 lenses, one wider for the wide body and one that was closer up. So you'll see me shoot full body, goes to close-up for the most part anyway. Also, I think these images can then be displayed together as a diptych like they are originally, which I think is pretty cool in my opinion. So, in my opinion, it's pretty cool that we can try to display them as they originally were, at least. Anyway, back to shooting. This one is probably my favourite from the entire shoot. I really love this image. The one priorly, that was the original image that we were trying for. It didn't really come out. It was difficult to meter the different parts of the scene properly and to get an average nice exposure. And especially when you convert it to black and white, it's even more noticeable in my opinion. But after we took that shot, Harry checked his watch and I could see that it just would look cool without their heads in, just the suits, checking the watch. So I asked him to hold that pose, quickly shot this, and it ended up being my favourite. It's nice that just an off-the-cuff, unplanned image like that can be such a good one. So yeah, really happy with this image. It's not exactly in our brief for today, but we were also just taking pictures and just trying to shoot on 50-year-old film. So I'm really happy with this one, and yeah, it's probably one of my 2 favourites of the day. After wandering about for a bit and shooting kind of most of that first roll, we landed across this cool garage where they let us use some of the sort of corrugated steel boards and stuff like that as a backdrop. So we decided to shoot most of the rest of the images there. I'm a really big fan of this photo in particular. I just love the contrast and I like how the framing is with all the objects around him, with him in the middle, and that little sort of negative space in between those two things just came out really nice. Okay, so we finished one roll, about to just load the second one. Is our current setup. So yeah, let's finish shooting. Okay, so for this next one, we're gonna do sort of arms out tattoos showing as like an identifiable marks mugshot. Should hopefully come out quite cool. If it does, we'll see. Very cool tattoos for 50 years in the future. And then after that was done, we headed back to the studio just to finish off the roll. I do really like these two portraits of Harry and Cal. Individually, I think they came out pretty nice and could be used for nearly anything. And I like the more relaxed vibe in comparison to what we were shooting earlier. And at this point now, we decided to take two just silly photos just to end off the roll with. So this first one here, I decided to just take a portrait of Cal and Harry sat in the studio. And then basically in this video here, I'm just saying how we're going to take a really stupid one, all wearing stupid clothes, and hopefully it'll be set up. We were trying to set it up so you could see me in the reflection of the mirror between both Callum and Harry. So yeah, let's see what that looks like. You see the Kenny Tar. So that was shooting criminal mugshots on 50-year-old film. I really like how they came out in the end. I hope you guys did too. I really liked the whole process from buying, testing, and then shooting the film. And I feel like we really nailed the brief. Especially, I think it's so cool that we managed to shoot it on such old film as well. I think it really ties it in together nicely. Massive shout out to Harry for modelling and Cal for modelling and providing the outfits too. Both of them exceptional and just made it come together really nicely. And yeah, I'm really happy with the images. I hope you guys are too. Let me know which one was your favourite in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, drop it a like, and if you'd like to see more of my photography, please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching.